Hello, everyone. Welcome to Professional Podcasts.
Professional, keyword.
This is the most professional podcast you've ever done?
Absolutely not.
No? Is this the least? No.
No,
I think
originally we made one without video, so...
that might still be better than this one.
Probably.
We're not sure yet. This is borderline not even a podcast. This is mostly just a review for Totally Killer. A movie I forgot the name of until he said it when we tried to do our first take and things were crazy. But if you're wondering why things are different, this is my house, or at least a corner of
He
it.
figured taking the camera, the stand, the lights, and bringing them in here took less effort than bringing the computer out there.
Yes,
I don't know. Here we are,
but we're here.
due to
for
his choices.
Listen, if you want to fight about it, we can fight. All right.
Mortal Kombat?
It's a thought, man. I mean, it really is. I think it's a good idea. But regardless, my name is Coleman. This is Draven. We do this kind of thing, usually in a longer format, or at least you may have seen a short before. But yeah, Totally Killer. You were the one that kind of brought this movie onto my radar. It was a Blumhouse movie.
I mean, it definitely gave off the vibe of like Happy Death Day, freaky, the comedy-esque, slashery vibe.
Once again, another Blumhouse movie with a blonde final girl.
Okay, but they can keep cooking every time they do it. Perfect.
Let them cook.
Let them cook, dude. Every single one of them actresses, man.
What was it?
Oh.
Let them cook. Let them cook while... I mean, what's the line in the movie, the Ratatouille line? There's something about let them cook while I'm inside you or something like that. That's what the guy said.
Cool. Didn't have to make me all weird by saying that, dude.
I didn't know we shared feelings like that. Anyway.
Well, Totally Killer, right?
Totally Killer.
So our cast. Let's talk about cast real quick.
Yep.
Main girl, what do we think? As a final girl. Do we like her? I mean,
okay.
I love her, actually.
Pros, the fact that she did all the self-defense stuff and then she actually had fight scenes. Really cool. Cons, didn't like the hairstyle. I'll be honest.
What?
I didn't like the little curve in.
I'm going to fight that on that. Gorgeous as F. That hairstyle was god tier. I'll fight it.
Okay, all right, fair enough. The other
But
thing,
I just meant as character in general.
I know. I'm just saying.
We went to the appearance first, eh?
That's not what I meant. I was trying to ease into my actual con that I had. I felt like some of the writing was a little too much in the, I don't want to say sensitive side, but I feel like there's things that she was throwing a fit about that we definitely were still cool with.
Like what?
I'm trying to think of a dodgeball. First off,
What do you mean?
I'm sorry, that still happens.
Yeah, it still happens.
That still happens, and that was one.
Well, it used to. We don't know about 2023. We're not in high school.
Fair enough.
It's been 5 years.
Fair enough, but there was another one, and I'm sorry for blanking on it. This is full spoilers, by the way. Right?
Yeah, we'll do
spoilers. This is an at-home movie. You can watch it at home. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna actually counter that and say I loved the
I loved a lot of it.
I know.
I did. I thought that was actually really cool, and that back and forth of it.
I love the.
Great.
Well, usually when they do movies where it's Back to the Future, not Back to the Future, but I guess Back to the Future-esque, but you go back to the past, they either make it to where back then was super horrible, or what we do now is super bad and stupid.
Right.
But they kind of balanced out where back then they were super chill and they were too chill, and it was okay, maybe that stuff was a little left up, but also it showed how we are super sensitive over everything in existence, and we're just super secure on everything.
I didn't like the way the movie kept implying that drinking and driving was bad.
We only did it twice though.
I was just kidding. I was just making a joke. Drinking and driving is bad. Kids,
yeah,
don't do it.
That's knowledge. But yeah, I really like that. I like that back and forth concept, and honestly, I think that concept and the humor actually hooked me more than the slasher whodunit aspect of it.
Yeah, that wasn't really doing it for me.
Because I'm a huge fan of Scream, my favorite franchise. However, Happy Death Day, finding out who the killer was actually really fun. It was actually, that movie did the slasher, whodunit better. However, I do think that this movie really did hit the nail on the humor and the characters and the back and forth between 80s and current times. And even the back and forth sometimes when they would transition, they didn't do it very often, but it would be like the 80s and they would transition to like current time. It's like, oh, I'm remembering these things wrong. Mandela effect?
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
I like that aspect
I like
of
that.
it.
I like the way I like that they came ready with their references.
Yeah.
As well. Like, of course, Back to the Future, everybody knows that
They
one.
reference my movie, Scream, baby.
They reference Scream.
They
It'd be
reference
cool if they actually referenced a Blumhouse movie. That would have been cool. But I don't think they did.
They reference like the quantity and quality of like weed. Like, how today you get like a little gummy that's better, more stronger.
Like more potent and everything. Yeah, stuff that I don't really know about, but that's fine.
And
anyway.
I mean, what did you think of like the stuff that actually happened to her like future? Like when she comes back and things are changed? Like, did you like that aspect of it, that things changed?
I wish we spent more time with it.
I agree. I do wish that we would have seen more than just like the little flip book for like 3 seconds.
Right. But at the same time,
I did like the brother. I like the brother thing because because I'm like, who the heck is this guy? And then it's like, oh, it's Jamie, your brother. Like,
yeah, so it wasn't even that they split up, that the parents split up, it's that they just had a kid earlier, which is funny.
Because horny.
Too horny.
Stop.
Too early, or too soon, or whatever it was. No, I liked a lot of the back and forth. Another thing that I think we need to talk about is like the casting. For young to old.
Oh, I loved it, actually. I thought the casting was perfect.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I liked the way it went back and forth. And
I love the dad. The dad's like...
Actually, the dad specifically, I think that both actors kind of had the same nose.
Oh, they how they looked alike.
There was like once, because when it first introduced the old characters as their younger selves, it would flash to what we know them as.
Yeah.
So when it did that flash, I was like, oh my gosh,
It really does look like a younger him.
That sells.
I just love it because he's like... I used to be built like Zac Efron back in the day. And then he's just getting out of the pool and he's all jacked.
I think that's so funny.
I love it. Like I said, I think the comedy and the pacing was pretty neat. I thought the pacing was okay.
Yes.
Do you have any?
Yes.
I know pacing is one that you like to pick on sometimes, but I thought the pacing was actually pretty good.
I think it was pretty good. Mostly.
My only negative for this movie really is just the slasher whodunit part, like the slashing part and the kills were fun. I honestly thought they were great. I mean, there's only really like 3 or 4 kills anyway. So like it being super spoofy and creative with kills never really crossed my mind as it had to be that. So like the whole premise is like this guy stabbed him 16 times.
Right.
So it's brutal, but it's going to be stabbing. You know what you're in for.
Mm-hmm.
So, that aspect, you kind of knew what you were going into, but the negative for me as far as the killer section is actually, something with like Scream and stuff, or the other whodunits that we've done, we never really guessed the killers that well. And this one, we got it like head on pretty...
You know why I think it was?
What?
And I was actually thinking about that. I think the reason we were able to figure it out so easily is that there were only so many characters that we meet, which, to be fair, in Scream... that's okay. But what Scream does, and what a lot of whodunits do, is they put these characters in precarious situations that, like, we're like, okay, I'm not sure if... I know so many people were at the party, but there were certain people I never saw their perspective of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I even, like, jokingly threw out the jock, right?
Mm-hmm. You were
but
even
even then, I'm thinking, like, well, that can't even be true because we see the other door open as he leaves the room to look over Madison, I think.
Yeah.
And so I was like, no, that can't even be right. But I was like, well, maybe she was just imagining that door at that point, and then he switched out. But that was me doing the movie favors in a way. But realistically, it never showed anyone that was questionable. They did a brief fake out with Mulch or whatever his name was.
Yeah, Mulch.
I don't actually know.
The fat Trish.
Yeah.
You can't call her that. Yeah, not anymore. She's dead.
Right. Yeah, and I don't remember like any situations where anybody. And then when it came to Doug, it was just like
I wish we would have gotten a motive for Doug, to be honest, or as to why he. Oh, we did. The fat Trish thing, girlfriend. Yeah, duh.
We did.
I'm stupid. Well, I don't know. It's weird because like the build up for Doug. There's no, like, just me guessing, because the one character they tried to make it seem would be the killer was too sus.
Right, that's what I was saying. That was the one other character that, like, they tried to make it seem.
Yeah.
But then it was like, okay, they're overdoing it. You know what I mean?
So I feel like guessing him was super easy to the point because of just, like, there wasn't a lot of other characters to go around.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we didn't get a motive or any reason to believe it was him. It was just kind of like, oh, he's just a random background character or something.
Yeah, we had no idea he was connected to Trish.
Yeah, I say it's not until after he's dead. So
right.
So, but though I'm kind of disappointed on that aspect, and the podcast guy was kind of obvious, to be honest.
Oh, especially once it
like showed that the time machine was gone,
and she's on the ground, and then the time machine's gone with him.
I would have wished that it would have kept that scene after his mask got taken off. Then it would like cut back to her laying on the ground.
Right.
That way, it wouldn't have gave it away so early. Because honestly, I do like the aspect of there's a past killer, and then there's a from the current generation killer.
Right.
I like how there's two of them because they were like, oh, she's like, oh, maybe there's two killers like in Scream. I like the concept of that they did do a two killer twist thing, but one of them was from the original past and one was from the future. Right. And I like how the future one, the podcast guy, didn't even know that the original killer was Doug.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he was just there for the ride at that point.
Which in the original timeline, before it got altered, was the principal of the school.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wild.
I know. He just went on. He didn't go far, but time travel. You know, that's like the big linchpin of this movie. That's like, how'd you feel it was done? Do you think it was done well?
I thought it was done great. I mean, if you can look past, which every time travel movie has like the cheesy reason as to why they get a time travel. You know, this movie's like, oh, high school or whatever girl makes this machine, and then something happens, it works.
Right.
You know, if you look past the cheesiness of that, I actually think the way the time travel stuff works.
I think you have to.
Yeah,
like a suspension of disbelief. It's just like, okay, like, I already have to believe that a time travel is real.
Yeah, real.
Might as well just believe that somebody was able to make it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's fine.
I just feel like some people would be like, that doesn't make any sense. You gotta look past that type of stuff with any time travel movie because, like, come on.
Yeah,
but I think the way they
problem to me.
I think the way they handled it was pretty well done. Like I said, I think my only complaint is I wish at the end when we go back to current time, we would have spent a little bit more time with the changes that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, actually, specifically, I liked all of the stuff about remembering in the modern day as stuff was happening. Like we talked about that already. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't like, and it's unfortunate that it only happened, or fortunate I should say, only happened a few times. Any CG stuff, I didn't think looked very good at all.
What CG? I don't even remember.
Like the original time travel scene.
Like
all the stuff's going around.
Yeah, going around her and stuff.
I didn't think that looked good. It made her look warped, which I'm sure that was probably the point, but the effect didn't look good. And then, like, the electricity at the end of the movie when the thing's spinning kind of looked like CW's The Flash.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
I get that. For me, I didn't really pay attention too much. I was just like, okay, cool. I'm just enjoying the movie.
I didn't care. I just was like, in that moment, I was just looking at it. I was just like...
You're like, oof.
Yikes.
I get it.
So, I mean, other than that, it wasn't terrible. I don't know, man. You know, complaints I had about the movie, there were a few jokes I didn't think landed. Like I said, I don't remember. I wish I could place them. I should have made a note of which time she was throwing a fit about something. And I was just like, no, that's still okay. The one where like he pushes her because she's trying to get into the party, or whatever, and she's like, "You invaded my personal space." I was just like, I mean, yeah, I guess, but like, I don't think it was like that. I don't know. I mean,
you're talking about the thing where she's like unwanted touching or something. And
I was just like, I feel like people aren't like that.
You'd be surprised.
Normal people aren't like
that. That's what I mean, but you would be surprised. People do exist like that. But I love the joke, though, with that, because she's like, unwanted touch, and he's like, unwanted human.
Yeah.
Like,
that's okay.
Like, I thought that the clash worked. I think the reason why it worked is because of the clash between the two eras. Because if you would have just had her complaining and being annoying, it would have been annoying.
Right.
But if you just would have had the over-obnoxious 80s chill out bros, that would have been annoying. But the clash and them going back and forth is what made it work.
I guess that's fair.
In my opinion. Like I said, I think, honestly, everything about this movie was really good, and what I expected is what I got. And honestly, the set piece with the amusement park
Oh,
ride,
that was cool. That was really cool.
awesome. The ending with the amusement park ride, great.
Whoever thought of that was great.
I wish we would have got more set pieces like that, like more over the top.
Well, maybe if enough people watch this, we'll get another one. But with that being said,
Want to go into finals, or do you have anything else?
I have one more thing
with that ad, because this is going to be a short one
right,
due to our situation.
We'll do a quick one. I'm trying to kind of air out the negatives, and then I'll bring in like a lot more positives for my final verdict.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to kind of like list the things I like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The mom, or like the young mom or whatever, didn't really enjoy in the cabin when she's just so horny that she forgets why they couldn't go to the cabin to begin with.
Oh, then she just randomly was like,
and then she's just like, wait.
Yeah.
I thought that was like so bullshit.
That was kind of dumb. I agree there. That was a little...
I was like... It took me away. I was like, what is going on
If you
here?
were to say something was lazy to get a character to kind of like get kicked in gear, that would be one of them. But I loved her like being so horny that like she's like cutting the tomato.
I know,
She just cuts her
I'm like, multiple times. Like, not only did you do it once, you went and did it again. Like...
Pizza?
I wish I was like
Pizza?
that.
Pizza?
Yeah, pizza with apples. Did you hear him say it had apples?
Uh-uh.
Yeah. And they call it a Hawaiian pizza.
Stop.
Are you kidding me? What kind of Hawaiian pizza is that?
Dude, the girl who like takes our main character to the school originally with the kids in the back that she's like hotboxing in, and you see them drive off and the kids are just sitting in
Stuff like that was so funny in this movie. Or like she's walking up and she's like, "Oh, there's the racism to the the Redskins thing." Like it was good, or the Reds or whatever it was, and like stuff like that. I love racism. You know what I mean? So no, I'm just kidding.
oh no.
But no, really, I think just like that kind of like staunch difference was just so cool.
Well, it's cool. I feel like they represented the 80s pretty well, like with how chill they were, but with how weirdly some things were acceptable back then.
Right.
Like
right.
that you look now and you're like, how did that happen? How did they get away with that? So I feel like it did the 80s justice with how cool it was and how chill it was, but with also how obnoxious it could be. And then, again, putting the take on our current times with how obnoxious we can be and how over stupid and protective we can be.
Right.
But at times how, we kind of make more sense sometimes than what the 80s did. I like that clash, and that's what made this movie work. And I'm going to hit you with my final verdict here since I'm already kind of going on it.
Yeah, you hit it, brother.
That's what's making it work with me in this movie. Like I said, I think the only thing that I think it personally is a negative is the killer aspect, and not even like when the killer showed up, it was kind of gruesome. It was like the fight in the cabin house was really cool with the dad, the past dad, and like all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff was kind of tense. You're like, oh god, stuff going down, and like our characters actually fight back. This dude like is bleeding out of his mask and his nose. Like I love his signature move where he just turns around and walks away.
Yeah, it was so good.
He does that like 2 or 3 times in all of his fights.
Which is actually interesting because if you think about it, it's not even the same person doing that.
Yeah.
Because the first time we see it is in modern day with the mom,
which was our podcast guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good. But yeah, the killer, like the identity of like the mask, I liked the mask. He looked, and he had like the earring on the one ear. Like
Right.
I like the way he's dressed up. I like the way the mask looks. Looks really great. Honestly, I dig it. Unfortunately, like I said, the only negative part is the killer reveals themselves. And I don't know if it's because of the fact I actually guessed both of them correctly, which I don't normally do in a whodunit slasher because I'm usually bad at those.
Right.
So take that as you will. However, the podcast guy, the motive made sense. He just wants to get more stories, kind of something that I kind of figured Gale was going to be in Scream. They kind of took that idea and turned it in. And
missed opportunity. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but just before you get too far away from this point, missed opportunity to not have the two killers meet.
Oh yeah,
and then either team up or fight each other.
That would have been a cool idea.
Either like they both see each other stabbing someone, and they're just like, "All right,
yeah."
You're real.
They just sit down and they just both start stabbing. But yeah,
either that or there's like, it's me or you. You know what I mean? One or the other.
That would have been cool. But at the end of the day, the killer itself was great. The kills were cool. Yeah. I wish that there would have been at least a little bit more background to Doug. I wish Doug would have got hinted at a little bit better towards his reveal. However, it worked out for me. I still look at it as the negative part of the movie, but I still think it worked out enough because of the fact there was 2 killers and, one's from the past, one's from the future. It worked out.
Yeah.
And it ends up with that cool set piece and the amusement park ride. Mm-hmm. So fun. Honestly, this movie is a chill out, have fun type of movie. If you liked Happy Death Day, Freaky, that type of movie, you're going to love this movie. I'm going to be real honest with you. I guarantee you will. And I personally am going to rank this an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
That's where I'm laying it. I like this movie a lot. So.
I respect that.
Let's hear your thoughts.
Okay.
Brother.
Okay. Yeah, so I think for the most part, this movie matches the era piece that it's supposed to be of the 80s. I mean, to my knowledge, pretty well. Mm-hmm. And it at least makes it feel to me, as someone who's not experienced the 80s, as if this could be the 80s, which is good enough. And then it also uses that for stark contrast in such great ways, like the hotboxing the miners or
DNA.
The DMA.
He's like, let me just go.
I have to say, I love that guy.
The cop.
Yes. I love him so much.
Let me just go put it in the... Ooh,
cop,
put it in
detective word.
And he just tosses it on the floor.
I love those, stark contrasts of the times. If I had to say my most, major negative criticism, I think I would have to agree with how you said it, is that, the movie was very predictable. And, once we kind of understood the rules of the time travel, I thought everything outside of the random things that happened at the very end were completely predictable. Mm-hmm. Which isn't an entire negative, but it definitely kind of erases the allure.
I just think on a slasher whodunit, you want to be surprised at some degree. Right. So I look at it as cliche and it works, but it could have been more interesting with that aspect.
Right.
So...
Right. I agree. Like I said, there's some shoddy CGI moments, and then, I liked everything that happened in the movie. I don't know, I felt like some of the character decisions, whether it be writing or whatever, I thought it was a little weird, and I don't know, I liked it. I really did. This was definitely, to me, with the predictability and the characters that may not entirely get you, but also really funny moments as well. And then, I don't know. I like this movie a lot, but I think it's a 7.
That's fair.
Personally,
I'm cool with that.
You said it. It's to me, it was a turn off your brain.
Yeah, it's some more.
Let the movie make you laugh, but it's never gonna scare you.
Nah, it's not a scary movie.
It's not. It's not gonna thrill you or anything like that. And then, I think there is a missed opportunity with typecasting how the kills are going to happen. Like the 16 stab wounds. Mm-hmm. I think it would have been really cool to see a bunch of variety of deaths.
You do see the one girl get her throat slit, but then you see him get down and start stabbing her to do the...
That was funny.
That was cool.
See, that was fun.
You hear the rape whistle go off when she gets slit.
But then that's when you realize it's not the original killer too.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Yeah. So I mean, see, that contrast is really cool. I wish we would have been able to work with that a little bit more.
Right.
With the two of them and the different ways they kill things and
right.
stuff. That would have been cool. But at the end of the day...
Maybe in a sequel we can, pull a Happy Death Day 2 situation, involve the same characters in a time loop.
That'd be fun.
Maybe.
So are you saying you want a sequel?
Yeah. I mean, similar premise. I don't even know if I need these characters
back.
But I think if they were smart, use these characters while they can, do it again, pull a Happy Death Day or a Babysitter 2, reuse the characters in interesting and different ways. And I think that's what I would want. And I think this movie's a 7. I would like to see another 7 or 8 sequel as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that Totally Killer 2 is necessary by any means. I think that this movie is definitely a good one-off banger. However, I do agree. I would love to see them implement new ideas to the formula.
Yeah, to be clear, I don't feel like there's a cliffhanger. There's no plot that needs a sequel. I'm just saying, if it's successful and they want to, incorporate it.
Maybe the current podcast guy that like grew up traumatized because his dad was dead. Maybe he like finds out about the time machine. And he's like, I can bring my dad back, and then we redo this.
Gosh.
Yeah, spitballing ideas. Nonetheless, this movie's an 8 for me, and the final girl in this movie, perfect. I need
an 8 for you too.
Oh yeah, like what are we talking about? Like final girl wise, we talking like
I'm saying I'm asking whatever you think.
10 out of 10.
All right,
but her, Tree from Happy Death Day, freaking the girl from Freaky, like come on, give me more.
it's Tree every day. I'm sorry.
He's right, Tree. Later.